All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
It's the brothers from GMS Atlanta. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to
YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI.
Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and a shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word and sincerity and the truth.
That's right.
And we just want to entitle this lesson, with the greater the gift, the greater the responsibility.
That's right.
Because you got brothers that come in the truth, and the Most High YAHAWASHI basically pours out a lot of gifts. When you read Corinthians, it speaks about the gifts of knowledge, the gift of prophecy, the gift of speaking of tongues and different things of such, roughly paraphrasing. But with those gifts, it's much requirements. It's a lot of burdens and it's a lot of hell that you got to bear for the sake of the righteous. Just like when you read in the scriptures in the New Testament with the talents of the
parable of the talents.
The parable of the talents, the parable of the talents, it was certain men that was required to labor harder and more effectively than the men after them.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, they all receive the blessing of the talents and the greatness, which is the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
But when certain men are stood in those stead at the beginning, those men are required to work and work hard, to build, which is what we have today, the kingdom of heaven. Yeah. And it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of faith, It takes a lot of work, especially us now in this faith. We're really the opening gates, I'll say, of the nation. And through our works and through us posting these videos constantly on YouTube and through our labor, that's how the elect 144,000 is going to be sealed. So we're just going to jump into a couple of scriptures and hopefully brothers will be edified. So you can get that on. Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, it's Luke 12 and 40. I'll start at 46.
You can start a couple of verses up. Yeah,
kind of 46. The Lord of that servant, I started 45. But if in that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him.
Keep going.
And at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in asunder. And I will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
Keep going.
And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
See that? And the servant that knew the Lord's will, and what else?
And prepared not himself.
And prepared not himself. Because when you know the will of the Lord, which the scriptures says the Lord of the will is for what? Us, the will of the Lord.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The will of the Lord is for us to push this truth and to basically, wake up the elect.
That's right.
When YAHAWASHI died and got crucified, what did he say before he or after the crucifixion, when he was getting raised up, before he got raised up and ascended into the heavens in Acts, the 1st chapter? Prior to that, what did he tell Peter? To feed my lambs or feed my flock.
Yes,
so that's what
sheep, yeah.
Or feed my sheep. Mm-hmm. So that's what the Most High required of the elect.
Yeah.
To feed the Lord's sheep and to push this truth out. And if you don't push this truth out to the maximum capacity, there's going to be penalties. Read that over.
And that 47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Right. See that? Neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. Meaning the Lord is going to penalize you with many stripes. Because the ones that's pushing the truth, the ones that's in leadership positions, and men that's in respective positions under, we supposed to be pushing this truth, and we supposed to be the emblem of YAHAWASHI.
That's right.
Because when you're a shepherd and you're leading men, everything you do, sheep is gonna follow that role.
Yeah, they're gonna take hold of anything that you're doing, any movements that you're doing in the spirit. All right, even out of the spirit sometimes, man. They're gonna a sheep is a follower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're even sheep. Sometimes you have head sheeps. Okay, the shepherd. The scriptures speak about the good shepherd. The good shepherd is YAHAWASHI. All right, now you have head sheep. You have the first sheep. And then you have sheep that's behind the first sheep, and they follow the sheep the second line and third line, they follow what's in front of them. So they do what the sheep do. So, you know, if you have a greater portion of the spirit of YAHAWASHI, and you leading the sheep, you know, into a pit full of wolves, they're gonna follow you into that pit full of wolves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the scriptures speak about that.
And said, if the blind both shall
Fall
fall
in the
into the
ditch.
ditch.
That's right. So you have, we have to be considerate of the sheep, you know, the brothers that's following you, because the brothers that's following you, all right, is gonna have more sheep that's gonna follow them. All right. So that's how this thing is being set up. The head sheep, the apostles and the elders of GMS, they following the spirit of Yahawashi. All right, then you have men that come under them that's following them, who they're following Yahawashi. It's a chain of followers. All right. So even brothers that's up under the apostles and the elders, all right, at a certain level, they have to follow another particular sheep, because that sheep in front of them is following Yahawashi. Mm-hmm. So that's why the scriptures speak about that. To whom much is given, much is required. That's right. What much is required. Salaki. So any brother that put their hand to the plow really has to look at themselves as a leader and build themselves up to become a leader.
Okay? You can read it.
47. Luke 12:47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
That's right.
48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes.
Yeah, because the one that was beaten with few stripes followed him blindly. You know? And that's why brothers that's in, like I said before, brothers that's in respective positions, we have to be on point. From, the the apostles and the elders, of course, they set the example. But captains, camp heads, first in command, second in command, different brothers in their respective positions, we have to definitely set that an example, because you have men that actually don't set the example. And, it's not a shot or a diss to any brothers in any camps, because you got brothers that do their thing, brothers that bust their ass and go extremely out their way to make sure that brothers is provided for.
Right.
On one side, but you have other men that just don't give a motherfuck about the men around them.
God.
They'll just do anything, basically to invalidate the men that's around them and to promote themselves.
Yeah.
To be self-worshipped. Just like the scriptures say in the book of Acts, you have different wolves, man. You got wolves in all these different camps too.
Acts, the 20th chapter.
Yep. It's not just one wolf in one camp. Man, wolves are everywhere. Wolves cover a lot of territory.
That's right.
And they're looking to what? Prey upon the weak, prey upon the sheep. So that's why, in the spirit, brothers is required, and the spirit has it where brothers as shepherds to have their eyes open and monitor different things. You monitor, you judge, you look around and you rebuke men to see what type of spirit they actually are coming with, if they're coming in a spirit of contrite, if they're willing to take the low, or are they willing to show teeth and to come against the authority?
Right.
So these different things is what a watchman is to look out for. When you're a watchman, like in the scriptures speak about the watchman in the book of Ezekiel, or in the Old Testament, when you were a watchman, you were required to do a lot of things. It ain't just only watching. You have to, mark the times. You have to
labor.
You have to labor.
Yeah.
You have to study the psychology of men.
Yep.
See how certain men is moving when you're a watchman.
A watchman also watches himself.
And a watchman watches himself.
Because if you on guard, and we are not gonna get too, deep into how we feel. But if you on guard, right? If you on post and you start getting sleepy, you have to snap out of it, because you know that your position is watching out for everyone else. So a watchman also watches himself. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine thyself whether you be in the faith. That's also a part of being a watchman. Okay? But Gamal, you had any more? If not, I got a quick scripture I want to bring out.
Let me see.
In Luke.
Luke.
Yeah. Well, let me just bring this out.
Yeah, bring it out slightly.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 18. It says, "The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord." See, so the greater that you are in the spirit, in the faith, the more humble you should be. Okay, just because you have a position of rank, okay, or a position of power within whatever church you have, that doesn't mean that you abuse it. All right, that you use your liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. That's not what you should do. All right, the greater you are, the more humble you should be. Mm-hmm. So that means what? You supposed to be able to bring yourself down to every brother's level, okay, and be able to connect with that brother in the spirit. You're not saying that you got to have some, exchange friendship rings,
yeah,
or anything like that, but you have to understand the position that another brother is coming from, all right, and humble yourself down to that position. Like Paul said, "I became all things unto all men to win all men." Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to know your personnel that's around you. You have to know, the spirit, the certain spirits that the brother have, the righteous spirit that they have in them, and you have to be able to identify that to be able to link with that brother. Yeah. Not use your position or the gift that the Most High gave you to exercise a lordship, okay, over the flock. You have to be able to, of course, you have to have order, and you have to have certain regulations within the body, and the brothers have to respect that. But when it comes to just authority on its own, you shouldn't just throw that around. All right? You shouldn't just throw that around. So I'm gonna continue. It says, "The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. Many are in high places and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek." And that's what you see out here, man. You see the men of Great Millstone, they haven't been laboring and toiling as much as Nate and Johanna and all these other different guys, but they can go into all kind of different breakdowns that they haven't even touched on. Why? Because the meek, the humility that those men possess, it allows the Most High Spirit to rest upon them, because He deals with the humble and contrite. He resists the proud.
That's right.
Okay? So when you humble and you contrite and you understand that, you of a low position, YAHAWASHI takes pleasure in that, and He reveals certain secrets and mysteries unto you. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's why you may have a brother that's been around for 4, 5, 6 years that can go into the deep breakdowns and different revelations of YAHAWASHI, rather than a man that's been around for 15, 20 years outside of Great Millstone. Okay? Because the apostles and the elders, they have that humble contrite spirit. So the Most High is dealing with them on a whole nother level. But the youngest brother in Great Millstone will receive certain revelations before the top man in IUIC or the top man in ISUPK. All right? Or any of these other Israelite factions. Why? Yeah. Because they proud.
Yeah.
They push that spirit of pride, even on their young men. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it says, verse 20, "For the power of the Lord is great, and He is honored of the lowly." Okay? So you may have a brother that's in the camp that may have a heavier portion or a heavier gift than the next brother. Okay? But the Lord takes pleasure in the lowly, in the contract, man. The brother that's, the sign holder that don't even speak a lot, but has a crazy amount of faith.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Okay? That don't speak often. That, you may rarely see him on camera, but his faith is shooting out the roof over the brother that may be over him in the spirit. So the Most High will do what? He'll take that gift and He will cultivate it in that brother's spirit, build him up, and reveal mysteries unto him.
That's right.
And that's just like when you read in the book of Exodus in the Old Testament, when the Most High was basically supping with Joshua and Caleb through Moses. Those were the lowly men, basically of the next generation. the men that you would least expect to lead the nation. But guess what? Through the spirit of the power of YAHAWASHI, he used those men to extend the nation, Joshua and Caleb. Because the Most High is all about the lowly. He's not always about the greatest men. When the Most High took Saul out, who did he raise up? David. And David was the least of his kin. So it's all about the lowliness of men. And when you're in that position, you do what's required of you.
That's right.
Because when Saul was in this position, he didn't do which was required. That's why the prophet, if I'm not mistaken, was it Samuel? Samuel rebuked him.
Yeah, he rebuked Saul. Yeah, it told you. Samuel said that he was displeased at Saul, man. You know, because Samuel was the one who ordained Saul to be the king. When you read the account in 1 Samuel, you know what I'm saying. So
I was gonna say that's why it says and Samuel told Saul, obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yeah. Because
only obeying the Most High's word and doing what is required of you, that's better than sacrifice. It's better than get a bullock or a ram or different sacrificial animals and sending them to the priest to give a burnt offerings. You know, just abide by the Lord. Do what's required of you.
Yeah, because if you abide by the Lord, you wouldn't have to even sacrifice.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why it's better. You know, because if you did according to what the law speaks about, you wouldn't have to be a sacrifice. That's why YAHAWASHI or YAHAWASHI came, and he was the sacrifice.
He was a sacrifice, yeah.
Okay, so he did away with all that, all those gimmicks that Israel was doing. Coming and doing sinning on purpose, and then trying to sacrifice to YAHAWASHI. No, man, he did away with that. He became the sacrifice, so that now it's only about obedience and believing. Right. All right, you don't have that luxury of going to before the altar and sacrificing a goat, okay, or a sheep of 1 year with no blemish, because you had a lot of phonies doing that.
Yeah.
They wasn't sincere when they was making their sacrifices. So YAHAWASHI was sincere with his sacrifice, and he did away with it. Now you gotta believe. Now you gotta be obedient to the law of YAHAWASHI. You gotta believe now.
Yeah. And
that's why a lot of them frauds can't come into this, man. Yeah. A lot of them phonies, man. Okay?
And the Most High made this a spiritual house too. When you have a spiritual house, it's not easy to abide in it. Because the Most High Spirit travels. And he requires certain things for you to live in it. That's why the word obedience goes back to word abide. And the word abide is basically to house. Where you get abode. When you abode in a residence, that's to live in it. But when you do against or the things that's not required of the laws, you get kicked out of the house. Yeah. Just like when you're in a household and you have a father figure that's maintaining the house or managing the house. If you don't do what the father says, he gives you chores and different schedules to keep the house intact. And if you don't do that, you get kicked the fuck out the house. Yeah. Where you think all these homeless people coming from? Not doing that which is required. So when you're in the spirit and basically in the house of the Lord, the Most High requires you to do certain things for you to live in the spirit, to be amongst the body, amongst the church. And if you don't do that and you deter or deviate from that, the Most High will throw you out like a nigga on the street. He'll grab you by your goddamn drawers and the back of your shirt, and he'll throw you out of here, man.
Yeah, like Jazzy J. What was his name?
Jazzy from Freshman.
Yeah, DJ Jazz.
Gone. You got something to throw out?
Gone. I got let me see. Well, I'm gonna just go back up to 46 on Luke 12. Luke 12 and 46, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him. So,
and that's why you're supposed to be working every day. Because he's going to come a day when you're not looking. Like if you work on a job and you have a boss that comes here and there, the president of whatever, whatever company that you work at, whether it's FedEx or, Metro, it don't matter what type of company you work for. You want to be working all day, always on the clock. You don't want to be fucking around because it's a time where that boss is going to come and he's going to give an inspection. Because when a boss gives an inspection, he's gonna see who's on the clock and who's supposed to be doing what.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on have the boss come and basically the assembly line where position or somebody is supposed to be, they're not there.
Especially of a high position.
Especially of a high position.
If you see somebody of a high position fucking around and the boss come and they going right to the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Now it's only one or two things you can do. You can get proud. What the fuck you coming at me like that for? Nah, don't talk to me like that. What you think that's gonna do to the boss? Gonna make you want to fire him. But if you come in the spirit of what? Hey, my bad. I was fucking around. I'm gonna get it together. He like, come on, man, get it together, man. Stop fucking around. He have mercy on you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the
It's
Most
the last chance.
That's why the scriptures speak about to basically to whom much is given, much is required.
That's right.
All right, but you have to come from a position of sincerity. I got something for you real quick. This is James 4:6. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, the Lord resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. And if the scriptures say, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself. All right, meaning the head man should be the humblest man. You look at Apostle Tahar, all the top apostles, they humble. They know how to bring themselves down to your level. All right, and they also know how to do what? When it's time to, they also know how to show where they at in the spirit.
Yeah, and that's why Paul was such a great man, because he knew how to abase and how to abound.
Yeah.
When it spoke about Moses, what was a great characteristic of Moses? He was the meekest.
Yeah.
He was humble.
Because of his humility levels. He was at the point where he wanted to deal with all Israel. But he had to go to Jethro, through the spirit of the Lord. And Jethro set up ranks like, nah, that's not how the Most High is dealing with it. You set up captains of 20s, captains of 50s, captains of 10. You can't deal with all these guys, man. Because Jake be having ulterior motives and all kind of demons on him.
Yeah, well, look at Dathan, Abiram, and Korah.
Yep.
Rebels. They try to act like, rebels that try to act like the Lord was dealing with them and not dealing with Moses. And what ended up happening? The ground opened up on their ass.
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to go back to it. It says, but he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, the Most High resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. And that's self-explanatory, man. It's funny how you have all these scriptures that speaks about how the Lord hates pride, and men will still get proud and act like they somebody. Act like they are the cream of the crop, and they are the only exclusive. They are exclusive Israelite, more exclusive than any of the elect. All right? They are one of 144,000. That's how men will act. Why? Because of pride, man. They act like they the shit. Well, no, that's not what it is. The Lord just gave you a heavier portion. Okay? That's all it is. It's not that you better than the next man. All right? The Lord just gave you a heavier portion than the next man. Okay? We all working toward the same crown, toward the same goal. You just got a heavier portion. You take that heavier portion humbly. And you build off of that portion that was given to you. And you push it on the rest of your brothers. That's it.
That's what it's about.
Jake take that portion and they exercise liberty and lordship over you.
Use it for wickedness.
Use their liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. No, that's not what it's for.
Yep. Okay?
YAHAWASHI does not take pleasure in that, brothers. Okay?
I got some.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
It's Matthew 13:12. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath.
Break it down, bro.
Hey, well, it says, whosoever hath, to him shall be given. So if you have it, you'll be given more abundance. All right, it says...
if you do that which is required.
If you do that which is required, exactly. Yep. And he shall have more abundance. So if you're doing what you need to do, and you're taking the Lord's talents, and you're flipping it, so to speak, you're increasing it, and you're taking what he gave you and doubling it, then you're doing what you need to do. But it says, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. So even if you have a little bit of spirit you have shall be taken away from you, because you didn't do what the Lord required of you. Because the in the parable of the talents, what did the guy he had what did the guy have? He had one talent and he hid it, right? See, so even the little that you have will be taken away from you.
That's right.
Therefore I speak. Let's see. I think that was pretty much the point.
I got something too.
Yeah.
This is Hebrews 4:1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you seem to come short of it.
Yeah, because fear of the Lord is what keeps you in line. It keeps you humble. It keeps you contrite. All right? It keeps you lowly. Because you understand that you just a worm. You understand that, the Lord has literally blessed us out of billions of people to even receive this truth. So how can you take this truth and act as if you already a part of the elect, not being on the chariot? Go ahead, bro. Read that again.
All right, let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it.
Yeah. See, any of you shall seem to come short of it. How could you come short of the kingdom of heaven? Because of lack of fear. All right? All right, because of pride. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to jump down to verse 6. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief.
Yeah, it says they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. Okay? So that's why you have guys that was back around in the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s, that heard this truth and they couldn't get it because of pride.
That wasn't grounded.
They wasn't grounded. They wasn't properly rooted. But you would have men now that comes in the late 2000s, after 2007, 2008, 2009, that has more discipline and obedience to the word of YAHAWASHI than the man that's been knowing this truth back in the 90s and early 2000s.
And that's why the scripture,
outside of the apostles and elders, should I add?
Yeah. Because I was going to say, because the men were branching off of the spirit.
Yeah.
When you have a tree, it first established from that root, which is the apostles and elders and their respective elders. Elder REI, King Masha, Elder YAHAWAH, Abba Bivens.
Foundation.
That was the foundation. And from their spirit, it grows, the trunk of the tree and the men that branch off onto this day. And what did the Lord say in the scriptures? If a righteous tree cannot produce wicked fruit, and a wicked tree cannot produce righteous fruit.
Yep.
Because if a wicked tree produces wicked fruit, guess what? It's going to get burnt up.
It's going to be hewn down.
And that's why the Lord rebuked that tree that didn't produce no fruit.
Yep.
Because a wicked tree cannot produce fruit. A wicked tree is only going to produce wicked fruit. You know a man by his what he produces. Would you even say that?
God, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, you are whatever your spirit goes. Either your spirit is of wickedness or it's of righteousness, and you can either do one of those two. All right. So the apostles on down, they've set a righteous foundation. So you've had men across the world being woken up and being under order and having the true doctrine and sound understanding. But this is
last verse.
Oh, okay, Consular.
All right, verse 11. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest.
Let's see. The scriptures say, "Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest." All right. So if you on a job site and you truly know that you laboring to finish a job, you know that you have no room for pride. So if you're a good leader, you know how to. You've been at certain positions. Like, let's say entry level. All right, you start off at entry level, then you work your way up to being an intermediate, and then you work your way up to being experienced, and then all the way up to an expert. Okay, once you get to the point of being an expert, you've already gone through those other positions of entry level, intermediate, experience, and then expert. You already worked those positions, so you know how to do those things at entry level. Okay? That's the same thing in this faith. When we working to enter into a rest, okay, there is no time for pride.
Yeah.
You understand that, hey, sometimes, hey, I used to work at a job. Sometimes the top man would come down and start doing stuff that people would be doing at entry level just to show them how to do it.
Yeah.
Because they've already done that. They have the experience on that. That's what the apostles and elders are showing us through the spirit of YAHAWASHI. Don't take your gift, all right, and corrupt it with manipulation and all kind of felonious tactics. Okay.
And if a man doesn't know how to do entry level positionings or talents, then he basically got that position of being experienced inorganically.
Yeah, that's
Period.
true. That's true.
Whether it was just an inheritance from another individual,
Or deception.
Yeah.
or deception, or fraud.
Just mouthing all the time.
Because it's all about being brought up from the ground up.
You don't deserve that.
You don't deserve that.
Yeah, any top manager within any top firm or top corporation has always started at an entry
From the
level.
bottom.
Yeah.
The good ones, okay? The good ones always started from the bottom and worked their way to the top. So that way, if they were to go back to the bottom, they have experience on being at the bottom.
That's right.
That's why the scriptures speak about what? To whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
Hey, in this thing, man, you may be a top brother in the camp, but hey, the spirit may have it to where you can hold a camera.
Yeah.
Or the spirit may have it to where you hold posts or read. That's how it works.
Hey, Yahawashi, he watched the disciples speak.
That's right.
That was the humblest position of all.
Continue.
All right, let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest, lest any man fall at the same example of unbelief.
Go ahead.
Which that's it. Verse 12 goes into the. For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the point.
Yeah. So, you got something on that, Jamal?
Yeah, I got some real quick. This is Matthew 25, and I'll start at 20. No, 19. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that hath received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more.
See? So that talent that was given to that servant, he took it and he gained 5 more talents. Meaning what? He added to himself.
Yep.
All right? So that when Yahawashi come back, he can show YAHAWASHI that I took the talent that you gave me and I increased.
I doubled it, yeah.
Go ahead.
His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Now, who is that Lord speaking about? Yahawashi. All right? Because the scriptures speak about what? Gain cometh by trading. So Yahawashi is going to look and judge each and every man that's partaking in his truth to see how they've increased. And like Apostle Hart always speaks about the hand in the pocket guys, the shiftless, being shiftless. All right? When you shiftless and you're not increasing, that means that you're not utilizing your talent.
Yeah.
You're hiding your talent. You have a man that's been around 3-4 years that still ain't speaking. You're hiding your talent. Okay? The scriptures speak about Yahawashi being a quickening spirit. You have men that can come in around 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months that can speak. But you can have a man that could be around 3-4 years that's not on the level to speak.
That's why scriptures say ever learning, but not able to come into the knowledge of Yahawashi.
That's right. Because on your spare time, you ain't doing what you got to do with your talent. That's why the Most High speaks about trading it. Okay? Continue, Jamal.
His Lord, His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things.
Yeah. So that's all the Lord is looking for, man. A man that's going to increase and be leadership worthy.
Yeah.
Leadership, show leadership qualities to where the Lord can look and say, man, this is, he's a leader.
He did everything he got.
Yeah, I can use him to help build my kingdom because he's a leader. That's really what it boils down to. We just joint heirs to the kingdom of Yahawashi, Yahawashi. So he's not going to be looking for fucking lollygaggers to help build his kingdom.
Right.
We are going into a phase of Yahawashi coming back to the earth, destroying his enemies and building his kingdom. He cannot build a kingdom with a dude that got a long ass rap sheet of wickedness, man. It don't happen like that. Okay?
It's a bad representative of the Lord.
That's right. That's why the Lord is teaching you to be humble. All right? And to increase and build up from the bottom. So you can be a qualified leader.
Right.
Okay? You're not going to be able to go before YAHAWASHI with dirty garments. All right? So the talent that was given to you, you have to cultivate it. You have to build upon it. You have to be on fire. Okay? You have to, work yourselves, show yourselves worthy, okay, to be a partaker in the glory. Okay, continue.
God. He also that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. Mm-hmm. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord.
Yeah. So the Lord is looking for men that's going to take that gift that was parted onto them and gaining from it. Okay? Because the Lord knows the exact gift that was given to you. And he knows if you gained or if you decreased. He knows it. And eventually, once you continue to play around with the Lord's gift or the Lord's talent, he just takes it away from you. Because it was given to you in the first place. Mm-hmm. So you can't move as if, you are sure shot onto a chariot. The apostles and elders, they don't give us that example. They still move from a position of humility, of a contrite spirit. And they still speak about themselves being a part of the hopeful elect.
And that's why Paul said, I'm confident in the hope that I might be saved.
Right.
When you say that you might, you don't know.
And that's that edge.
That's that edge, and that's why Paul put so aggressively. Paul never sat down. The majority of these letters in the New Testament, where did they come from, Paul?
Yeah, he was on it. Yeah. Paul traveled to multiple cities. What do you think Corinthian? It's the city of Corinth. Mm-hmm. Philippians. The city of Philippi. Yep. All right, or Philippi. All right, you got the book of Ephesians was what? The city of Ephesus. Colossians.
Yep, Colossians.
Okay? Which was Colossians, like the brother say. All right? You got the Romans. You got the book of Romans. Rome. All right? You got all kind of different books. All right? Well, Paul traveled to Macedonia.
Yep. The book of Hebrews, which was written, I think, in Italy.
Yeah.
Which it says that in the last chapter.
Yep.
He
traveled to Macedonia. Okay? Different parts of the Eastern world to get this doctrine out. Paul wasn't high-minded and said, man, I'm not walking to that city. The Lord dealing with me. The Lord is dealing with me. I'm a man of the Lord. I don't have to go. No. And Paul had a great portion of the Spirit. Okay? So the pride got to stop. The pride got to stop, man. All right? If somebody could find that scripture in the Apocrypha where it say pride is the beginning of sin, real quick. I want to get that scripture real quick, man. Lord willing, because, you know where it's at? It should be, let me see. Yeah, because that's the beginning of, let me see. I got it. Yeah. Go to Sirach chapter 10, start at verse 12.
I got it right here.
Yeah, Sirach 10 and 12. We're going to read a few verses out of that.
Sirach 10 and 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High.
Yeah. The beginning of pride is when you start departing from the Lord and you start moving according to your own will.
Yep.
All right? Because you automatically assuming that I got to be a man of the Lord because of what I know. I got to be, man.
That's the beginning
Lord
of pride.
Got to be dealing with me. Somebody got to be a part of the elect. I got to be one. No. Dude.
It don't work like that.
It don't work like that. The Most High don't take pleasure in that. Okay, continue, bro.
And his heart is turned away from his maker.
Yeah, your heart gets turned away from your maker. It becomes about yourself. Mm-hmm. You look at that gift that was given to you and you use it as a cloak of maliciousness, and you stop feeding the flock. You stop edifying. You make it about yourself. And all these scriptures that speak about this spirit of pride, and you can still have it and not know it. That's the fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
That's the fear. That right there alone should be the fear of the Lord. Because you will have men that speak about pride and being proud, and they'll read all these scriptures about pride, and they'll have that spirit on them, and they won't even see it.
Right.
That's why the fear of the Lord has to be upon you, man. Okay, continue, bro.
For pride is the beginning of sin.
Pride is the beginning of sin. Pride is a deadly killer. It pops everything off, man. That's why the mass majority of these people can't hear what we're saying because of pride.
That's right.
They have a job working for the government with 401k and benefits, and they have a $250,000 house. All right, and they have 3 kids and an Escalade and a Jaguar. All right, that's why they can't hear this word, because they basking in their own self. They're engulfed. They're narcissists. Narcissists.
Yeah, narcissists obsessed with appearance and just outwardly, how the world views them.
Yeah. Here it is you an insect or a worm looking in the mirror like you created humanity. You're not giving no reverence to the Lord. The Lord does not take pleasure in it. Okay? So what more a man that has the faith, man? You're gonna receive double. You're gonna get it. Okay? Go ahead, Lamar.
God. And he that hath it shall pour out abomination.
And he that hath it, the spirit of pride, shall pour out abomination.
Yeah. And that's why it says a man that even his prayers shall be an abomination.
Yep.
Because pride is not even something that you can even pray with, man.
Yeah.
It's a bad offering unto the Lord. That's filthiness.
Like we read in James, the 4th chapter. It says what? He resists the proud and gives grace to the humble.
It's all about being humble. Which that word humble basically goes back to being on the earth, man. Understanding your position. If you're a leader, understand that you're just a leader. That's why the scriptures say, at the end of the day, we're unprofitable servants.
That's right.
We can't think ourselves above what we are. And at the same time, we can't think ourselves lower than we are. If you know that the Most High is, put you into certain positions, don't act like a basic man. I just want to put up a video here and there.
Yeah, I'm not available to deal with the camp. You better make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
If you got a lot on your plate, you better eat it.
Yeah.
And don't eat more than what you can eat. All right? Or don't start, binging. Eat what's on your plate.
Yeah, that's why scripture say, eat the honey that's sufficient unto thee.
Yeah.
And just like we was talking about with the position of bosses, when you're a boss in a position, in most cases, you work harder than the laborers. You sometimes, in certain cases, it's a lot of bosses that just sit on their asses, but you got certain bosses that they're always involved with the work. Always. No matter, because their work ethic still remain from when they was a first level or entry level servant until they actually graduate to different levels. The mentality is still there. It's just the positions change.
Mm-hmm.
When the positions change, that doesn't mean the mentality changes. Okay, I'm a leader. Now I'm going to sit on my ass and I'm going to let other men work for me. And I'm just going to take everything, the ties, and take everything from these men and make it seem like I'm the one that's actually going out and about for my men.
Yeah.
That's a wicked servant.
That's maliciousness.
Or a wicked leader. That's the shepherd that the Most High YAHAWASHI is not dealing with.
That's right.
He's dealing with the lowly. When YAHAWASHI was a shepherd or a leader on the earth, he represented the lowliest of men. That's why the scripture said that YAHAWASHI was what? Lowly sitting upon an ass.
Yeah.
An ass represents just being low.
Yeah.
A donkey doesn't move fast or aggressively.
Well,
that's
he was known. So go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. That's the donkey is known as a beast of burden. But you go ahead out.
Yeah. Well, YAHAWASHI was from Nazareth. Nazareth wasn't no cookie cutter goddamn neighborhood, man. With all these tight ass houses and decked out appearances. Nazareth was the slums. All right. I think that was the thing you say you know, what good can come from Nazareth?
Yeah.
You know, because it was that's where Yahushua he came from, a low position. Yahushua wasn't coming in pulling up on in a Jaguar. He's pulling up in a damn punch buggy.
Yeah.
If you want to, you know, relate that to today.
Yeah.
Or he was pulling up in a damn hoopty.
Yeah.
He wasn't he wasn't living in you know, your exquisite side of town. He was living in the hood.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Just like majority of your brothers. A lot of men that's in the faith come from the hood.
Yeah.
A lot of men in the faith don't drive a lot of elaborate ass cars, man. You got some brothers that do, okay? But they handle their business. But you got a lot of brothers don't drive these fancy ass, exquisite ass cars, man. Because they come in the spirit of YAHAWASHI, okay? Like Amal, continue where he was at, 'cause there's some more in there, bro.
God. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination.
Go ahead.
And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly.
Go ahead.
And the Lord hath cast down the thrones of proud princes.
Yeah, the Lord hath cast down thrones of proud princes.
Beautiful.
This act has been repeated by the Lord. He hates pride. Proverbs 13:8. He hates it. That's one of his pet peeves. Is the spirit of pride, because it comes from Satan, man. Go ahead, bro.
Kind of. It says, and set up the meek in their stead.
Yeah, he sets up the meek in their stead, man.
Man, that's crazy.
The men of lowly position, okay? That's not seeking attention. That's not seeking a position or a rank, all right? Or a level of status, okay? They just want to do the work, all right? And the Most High sees that, and he's the one that gives the increase, man, all right? Because you got to come from a position of low, okay? A position of humility, man. Yeah. And we have every right to be in a position of humility. All the shit we done, all the bull crap, the transgressions we committed against YAHAWASHI, how can we be puffed up in the land of our captivity? How? How can we walk around with our chest poked out, knowing that we've transgressed the laws of YAHAWASHI? How can you, man? You know, but when you do these particular things, that's contrary to the scriptures, it shows that you don't have the fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
That's what it shows, man. Okay? That the fear of the Lord is not in you, and you're not contrite about the transgressions you've done. You ain't moving the spirit of King David when he wrote all those psalms to the Lord, man. All right? And he begged the Lord not to take his spirit away from him. And he wrote all these beautiful psalms about it, you know, him going through hell and the Lord being his fortress. Okay? And he wrote about the Lord helping him with his enemies.
Right.
Because he came from a low position. He didn't get too puffed up. And that's King David. Comes right up under the authority of YAHAWASHI. Okay? So what more anybody else? What more, man? Okay? You got to be humble, man. When you read in the scriptures and you read about all the great men of the Lord, they were humble, man. They didn't have a particular portion to where they got fucking overzealous. Because whenever you see an Israelite, they got too full of himself, the Most High cast his ass down, man.
Or the Most High sends somebody to rebuke him.
Yeah.
Put him in his place.
Yeah. So continue, go on. I'll let you get what you got and close out.
Okay.
And overthrow them utterly. And the Lord hath cast, I'm going to start at 13 again. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. The Lord hath cast down the thrones of proud princes, and he set up the meek in their stead.
Yeah.
The Lord hath plucked up the
that's
roots.
what it's about. Setting up the meek. Say he destroyed the proud princes and set the meek in their stead. When you read in the scriptures at Daniel when he was in Babylon, was he not one of the meekest men in the kingdom?
Hell yeah.
He was the meekest because he had the greatest wisdom. The scriptures say the greater thou, the more humble thou shalt be.
Yeah, humility is
He
key.
knew that he was under heathens, and he still played his part.
Yeah.
Same thing with Joseph.
I was just spirit.
Yeah.
Con.
Same thing with Joseph. When Joseph was in Egypt, he knew that he was under an empire that he was greater than, but he still played his part because he knew that the Most High YAHAWASHI was using him, and he didn't break rank. He didn't take matters in his own hand. This truth is about not taking matters in your own hand also, man. You see who the Most High is dealing with, the apostles and elders on down. You don't just break rank and go MIA and think that you're going to reinvent this thing, man. The Most High set the positions, and you just deal with the spirit. Because it's all about being humble. Keep going.
Con. The Lord, it says 15, the Lord hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place.
Keep going.
The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth.
Yeah, when you read in the scriptures, it's hundreds of different countries and different things of such they got threw down.
Yeah, read the book of Judges.
Yeah. They had that pump.
Yep, they had that pump, such as Capernaum. Most High said, Capernaum, that though thou art exalted to heaven, the Most High would break you down to the ground. That's a prophecy, Jeremiah 28:8. That's what the prophet's job was, to tear down kingdoms of proud, that were proud, and tear down the spirit of men that raised up and waxed proud in the kingdoms instead of giving homage unto the Most High.
That's right, bro.
Because it's all about YAHAWAH at the end of the day, and he's using us. Yep. You just got to be a humble vessel and let the Most High use you as he wants, And if, in the spirit, if he wants to use you to basically push this word and dedicate yourself, to cut off the affairs and the ties of this world, that's what it takes. You got men that want to get the best of Babylon and the best of the kingdom, basically. They want to fuck all the women in Babylon. They want to party, drink, go to strip clubs.
It's the truth on the back burner.
Yeah. In exchange.
And then still sit up there and act like the Lord dealing with them. And in the meantime, when it come to you, showing the Lord that you love him and that you're willing to do whatever it takes, you ain't doing it. But in return, you doing all this bullshit and you still thinking that the Lord dealing with you. What the fuck is wrong with Jake, man? Jake be going off, man.
Okay.
All right? Yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
Go out over to verse 18.
18. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman.
Yeah, well, the point was what? Pride was not made for men. All right? That spirit of pride has leaked into the earth like a virus. And it catches hold of you, and you tend to forget the Lord. How do you forget the Lord in your captivity? That's why you have to be contrite. You have to come from a position of sincerity and lowliness so that you will never forget the Lord, man. When you come from that position, you understand that the Lord was gracious upon you to even give you the truth. So you would never even play with the truth and act as if I've been had this, the Lord with me. I'm good. I can do it. You tempting the Lord. A sincere man would never do that, man. A sincere always move with what did I mess up at? What did I do now? How could I be better? Did I say the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Damn, man, the Lord, I hope the Lord not mad at me. Did not Ezra tell the Lord, hey, Lord, and Rab, please remember mercy?
Mm-hmm.
When he was getting them visions. All right? Because why? Because the fear of the Lord was on him, man. So what more men that was receiving great revelations, man?
What?
They was contrite as hell. And they knew that the Lord was dealing with them. Because they got the revelations. That's why they wrote them down, like it tells you in what? 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. That's why they wrote them down, because they knew that the Lord was dealing with them, and they were still humble.
And they increased their fear.
And it increased their fear, and they grew on a level. Mm-hmm. All right? Yep. So, Bars, I'll get what you got. We can close it out after this.
All right, Sirach 10, and I'll start at, just verse 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such and one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. But the main point is, why is earth and ashes proud? Because that's all we is earth and ashes, and the Most High put the Spirit in us to do His will and to fulfill everything that He basically installed in us to basically push.
He gave us His Spirit.
He gave us His Spirit to push that which is required. Like the brother just said, He gave us His Spirit. And that's what it's about, you know, to pump this truth out on the maximum level. You know, if you're a bodybuilder and you've been working out for 10 years, you don't go back to the regular dumbbells, man. You know, you don't go back to the, little 10 pounds, the 5 pounds, lifting women weights. If you all bucking cock diesel, you know, what you're supposed to be after, lifting for 10, 20 years, you have to keep lifting to maximize your weight, and you got to basically pump out the increase, because that's what it's about. So, with that, we'll give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom, Maki.
Shalom.